What's happening, party people? I am in South Texas. Will be in Vegas late tonight. So in this video, I was still in the Chicago area helping Frank with his V70 turbo manual, and man, got a lot done. So if you got any questions, send them here. If we're supposed to get together within the next 30 days, go ahead and send me a text just to confirm. Make sure we're on track for getting your work done, making sure that we got your parts that we need to have. And I know I got to get some parts for Mitch. I know Mark has all of his parts, but there's a couple other folks that want to do cylinder heads, AC, evaporators, stuff like that. So let's go ahead and touch bases, get that stuff lined up, and make sure we get you taken care of. Thanks for watching today's video. Welcome to Hanging Out with Robert, that's me. This video contains things that I encounter throughout the day. If for some reason I complete a task and you would like to see the details, you can click on the link in the description area below. This video also contains tips and tricks that I learned throughout the years. I plan on leaving this video accessible for about 30 days. After that, you can view it through my Patreon account. Thank you very much for watching. Kicking off the Tinker Day with this V70. It's a little chilly, but I don't think I need the heat on just yet. It's supposed to be getting warmer, so I should be fine. However, I checked my video from last time, and those brake parts were there, and now they're not. So I need to see if I can find them in the boxes that I have and get that stuff back together. I'm gonna go ahead and run the cable and look for these parts and keep it moving. Well, things are going better today. I found those pieces in one of those boxes we looked in 3-4 times last night. Looked in it today, found it right away. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this new hardware on, put the new brake shoes on, and rig this up. Get this parking brake system fixed. I got the cable in, man. Probably the fastest I've ever gotten one in. Went in pretty quick. Putting in some fresh hardware. They actually have new bolts that go in there in the kit. However, those bolts, they bottom out. They're twice as long as the bolts that come out of there, so I'm having to go back with the bolts that come out of there. Look how long those things are. At least 40% longer. So I'm going back in with the standard bolts because these bottomed out and then the clips weren't tight. I don't think I'm going to be able to use the new clips either. They seem significantly smaller than the original clips. Well, I'll give them a try, put the shoes in and see what happens, but they don't look like they're the right size for me. Well, I don't know if this adjustment bar is the right length, but man, that spring is not. So I'm gonna replace that spring and put this shoe back on. Got a gap up there. I think it's too big, but we'll see. The common things with these cars is that there's a groove warning here from malfunctioning parking brakes, and the pad's wearing in there, and this metal actually wears down. This thing has a little bit of a groove set in there from the old pads, but I don't know if that's enough to make them not work. I had to replace a set of rotors on Byron's car because of this. So I'm going to clean that out with a wire wheel and then install them and see if we can get these parking brakes to set. Got the rust cleaned out of there for the most part, as best I could with a wire wheel. Let's see if this thing is too big. If that's too big, it won't fit over there. Other than that, we'll fit it over there and then adjust them. A few more things we're going to do. Next, we're going to do the crank pulley. After we do the crank pulley, we're going to do this coolant return. Then we're going to get the coolant supply. Then we're going to get the firewall junction and the 2 heater hoses. So we better get cracking if we're going to finish this today. Well, that took a whole 15 minutes. I got the old one off. Wasn't as bad as I remember. It does have some cracking on it, but Better to get it before it gets crazy. So let's fire up the car, make sure that thing doesn't wobble, and move on to some coolant. Here it is. Looks pretty steady. I don't see nothing on the belt jerking or anything like that. We should be good to go. Am I the only one who despises this radiator petcock? That thing never comes out like right. It always gotta pull, and then when you finally get it out, it bursts out, splashes coolant everywhere, all over you, on your face and your mouth. And then you gotta put the pan back under it because it didn't come out right. I'm glad I had the coolant reservoir closed. That way it didn't just keep gushing out. It just splashed out, got the pan under there, then opened up the coolant reservoir so it'll drain. So let me put this thing back in here, get these coolant hoses replaced. Man, I despise this thing. To get your heater hoses in your firewall junction, you got to pull a heater cord. Had a conversation about the owner. He thinks this heater cord may be original, which I find hard to believe, but he said he gets a whiff of coolant when he cuts the heat on. So I come to get at the heater core, I pull up the floor mat, and man, this carpet is soaking wet. I don't know if it's coolant or what, but it's wet with something. That's not good. So let's see if this heater core is leaking. We do have some water tracing from up in the heater core area, but this floor smells soapy. So let me see here. Oh man. Oh, it's got a power amp, and it looks like a older heater cord because it's browning. Let's see if we got any coolant on the bottom of this. See if my hand gets wet. Yep, it's getting wet. At least the seals are leaking. And let me pull this power amp. We got a firewall junction to replace, and I don't know if I've ever seen one caked up with dust like that. And we'll see if this heater core it's leaking, but we'll see how bad it is. Shocked again, 512.96. It's an original heater core. So the seals are leaking, and it's leaking down in the core. I'm gonna strongly advise against reinstalling this. This thing could blow at any moment. But it's not leaking that bad, but man, this floor is really wet, so I don't know what's going on. Again, when this is dark, that thing is at the point where it could just explode. I've seen them just split wide open like that. I'm going to take out the air box and the air tube so I can get to this coolant hoses easy. I guess that's the only way to get to them, really. And get that firewall junction replaced, and get that turbo inlet replaced, and get this turbo return replaced. Shifter cable bushings are torn. I thought we replaced these. I guess we didn't. I got some bearings. I'll see if he wants to put some bearings in there. I have no idea what type of witchcraft they had going on with this turbo supply line, but as you can see, that is not the authorized line. And man, the coolant coming out of that turbo could be a couple hundred degrees. Like, it could be 700, 800, 900 degrees. You start using makeshift hoses, I doubt that this turned into that. So somebody found some 90-degree hose and just put it on there and took the chance on that thing lasting I don't know how long, but I'm glad we're getting rid of it. I'm not sure where that coolant return came from, but yeah, it was actually disintegrating from the inside out. I'm not sure if I'm the last one to find this out, but they put a tap in this maple tree, and as it heats up, it drains out of this tap. They hook a bottle on there, And that thing is filling up with sap, maple sap that they're going to make maple syrup with. It's done that in about 35-40 minutes in 55-degree weather. They said when it's warm, it fills up a lot quicker. This one on this side is draining a little slower. It's a smaller tree, but it's still draining in there. When I tried to disconnect the hoses from the outside, they broke inside the firewall junction. Both of them. They broke pretty easy too. So if you're going to do your heater hoses, you want to make sure you got a firewall junction if you're going to keep that system, which I like. Don't just think you're going to unplug that and not break that junction or crack it and start a leak. So I got a new junction to install. Got this hose installed. Now I got the firewall junction in place. I'm getting ready to secure that and then get them heater hoses on. Was able to get one OEM Volvo hose. Could not get the outlet. So we got the DO88 mod I'm gonna do. Got my safety glasses, my cutting machine. I'm gonna go ahead and cut that thing off of there so I can put it on that DO88 hose. All right, I have both hoses in and secure. Got the turbo supply in. Now I'm gonna put in the intake tube after I replace these bushings in this shifter, because that one is definitely torn. That one will be torn before too long. And keep moving forward. Get ready to start putting inside together. We suspect that a lot of water got into this vehicle, maybe because snow melted, blah, blah, blah. Well, this cowl is not tucked into the bottom of the windshield trim like it's supposed to be. So I'm going to go ahead and take the wipers off, install this properly, and hopefully that'll prevent this thing from leaking in the future. As you've seen, we got a lot done on Frank's vehicle there. We found those parking brake parts, got that cable installed the rest of the way, installed those brake shoes for his parking brake, got that working, replaced the harmonic balancer, then went and checked the heater core, found a heater core leak and all that water in the floor on the driver's side. So we found the source of that water, I think, was the window trim and maybe from his snow. So we replaced the heater hoses going to the heater core, replaced the firewall junction, replaced the shifter bushings, replaced the turbo supply coolant hose and the turbo return coolant hose. And then we got that window trim tucked away and it was supposed to be at the bottom of that windshield. And of course, we had a little lesson on collecting maple tree sap to make maple syrup. So I appreciate you all watching. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them here, or you can send me a text or call me if you need, some intense personal help. Most people that do that and have me on the phone for, 15-20 minutes or so, they send me a few bucks, but that's not a requirement. It's just appreciated. Besides that, if I'm supposed to get with you in the next 30 days, make sure that we're on track with your parts and stuff like that. Again, I appreciate you watching. Like, subscribe, make a comment. Have a great day.